Welcome to This Daring Adventure podcast, where we work on bridging the gap between where we are and where we want to be in order to live a bigger and bolder life. In this podcast, we will provide inspiration, tips, and skills you need to make your life the adventure you want it to be. Here's your host, mindset mentor, and life coach, Trista Gurton.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Trista Gurton, and today we're diving into something that has quietly but profoundly changed my life and the lives of the women I coach. It's subtle, it's powerful, and most people will miss it, but it is the quiet identity shift. This is a part of the work that we do in the first pillar of my coaching program for women who feel stuck. These women know deep down that they're meant for more. They're motivated, they've done so much already, career, family, life, but they're going through a bit of a transition. Maybe something feels like it's missing. And they might be thinking that they need a new job, a new routine, a new career, a new planner. But really, what we want to look at is their identity. So let's talk about what it means and how we quietly shift it. What is a quiet identity shift? An identity shift isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about shedding the layers that aren't really you anymore. It's about becoming who you already are underneath the stories, the habits, the beliefs that have kept you stuck. So often we're telling ourselves stories about who we are and what's possible for us based on outdated programming, the past, things that are no longer helpful. Now, we know that your thoughts will create your feelings will drive your actions, and your actions will create your results. And of course, at the center of that is the thought about who you are, your identity. It's the quiet belief that you hold about who you are. And it underpins everything. Things like, I'm someone who always puts others first. I'm someone who struggles with time management or follow through. I'm not creative. I'm always overthinking things. I'm not good enough. Any of these sound familiar? Now, realize that none of those are facts. They're thoughts that have become part of your identity. We've thought them over and over and over again. They've become deeply ingrained beliefs, hardwired into our brains, and we've become them. Not that you are that, it's you have become that. And as long as you believe those thoughts, you will unconsciously seek to prove them true over and over again. That's how your brain works. It wants to find the evidence. That's what it's going to look for. And that's the trap. So here's why it's so important and so easy to miss. You cannot create a life that's wildly different from the identity you're currently living from. If your current identity says, I'm stuck, then every action you take will be filtered through that belief. You may try to take action, apply for new jobs, start journaling, go to yoga, but if the underlying belief is I'm stuck, you'll sabotage, you'll quit, you'll lose momentum, and you'll stay the same. Because your brain is always seeking to be right. And that's why most personal development tools don't stick. That's why any new habit or change doesn't stick. They're working on the surface level, trying to change actions without changing identity. How many times have you promised I'm going to go to the gym? Maybe it was your New Year's resolution. And you go to the gym for the first couple of weeks, But then the discipline, the motivation, the excitement, the novelty wears off, and you're still the same person. You're still thinking the same thoughts. It becomes harder to keep going because you haven't shifted who you are. And so that identity shift, it usually doesn't come with fireworks. It's quiet, it's internal, it takes work. It starts with a new thought, like maybe I am the kind of woman who finishes what she starts. Maybe I don't need to be stuck anymore. What if I'm already changing? And so these aren't affirmations that you just repeat in front of a mirror. They're invitations to start seeing yourself differently. And little by little, that becomes who you are. So, how do you start this identity shift? How do we do it? And this is where the work really begins. And it's actually quite exciting. The first step is you want to become aware of your old identity. What are the quiet, unquestioned beliefs you've carried for years? What do you believe about yourself when no one's watching? Start noticing your default thoughts. Write them down. Ask, what would someone who believes this always do? And you'll start to see how you've created results that match your identity. Step 2 is to decide who you want to become. Now you want to flip the script. Who is the version of you that already has what you want? What does she think about herself? What does she believe in her bones? If you want to feel confident, what does confident you think about herself on a random Tuesday? And this is where we start to look at the magic that comes from understanding the thought, feelings, action, results, framework, and model. Because when you adopt a new thought about who you are, your feelings, actions, and results begin to shift with it. This is how we rewire your brain, one belief at a time. And this is why when we do this work, it creates lasting, sustainable change. Now, the third step is to act as if the new you is already real. And this is the work of your daily life. How would your future self handle this email? How would she respond to her child's meltdown? Would she scroll Instagram for 30 minutes or sit with her feelings for 5? When you start taking action from the place of who you want to become, you collapse the timeline. You become her faster. And no one needs to know it's happening. It's quiet. But the results, they speak volumes. This is the work that we do in coaching. We rewire your brain. We regain your power. And we start to change your life and create the results that you really want. So, if you're listening to this and thinking, wait, this is me. I've been trying to change everything except how I see myself. Know this. You're not broken. You're just running on an old identity loop. And that you can change quietly, powerfully, for good. And the process is fairly simple. But realize it does take work. It takes effort. It takes an investment of your time and your energy. So keep going. Be aware of your thoughts. Repeat the 3-step process. If this episode spoke to you, please kindly take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. I know that everybody who has a podcast says that, but here's why it matters. When you do, it helps more women like you find this podcast. Women who feel stuck and need to hear that they're not alone and that they can absolutely shift into something better. Because that's what I truly believe, and that's what this work is all about. And if you're ready to stop spinning, overthinking, and second guessing, if you're ready to stop waiting for your life to start, then book a free consultation with me. The link to the calendar will be in the show notes. This is the first yes, not to me, but to you, to your identity shift, to your next chapter, to finally becoming the woman you want to become. It's the first powerful decision, and it can be the one that changes everything. You don't need more research. You don't need to be ready. You just need to decide that you're done doing it alone. So click the link in the show notes to book your consultation, and I'll see you there. Until next time, stay curious, stay courageous, and stay becoming. And keep going.